Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
We're learning more about an incident at the South Dakota State Penitentiary yesterday afternoon. According to the Sioux Falls Police Department's log, suspicious activity was reported just after 4 o'clock. The South Dakota Secretary of Corrections sent a statement last night saying that order has been restored.
It goes on to say that there was a disturbance, including a staff assault, and the response followed protocol and was conducted professionally, swiftly, and thoroughly. We've repeatedly contacted the DOC for more information, but no other details were provided. Video of an arrest in Sioux Falls is generating outrage among friends and family members of the suspect. Police say they tried to arrest 44-year-old Danielle Battalion at a Sioux Falls apartment. A neighbor shot video of the arrest, which shows officers punching and tasing Battalion.
The family says no one deserves to be treated that way. However, Police Chief John Toombs says he was resisting arrest.
It's hard to get somebody under control to handcuff them, and one arm was unable to be secured. And so the techniques are sometimes to release that arm to deliver strikes, or sometimes to use the taser in a drive stun capacity.
Toombs says an internal review of use of force began the night of the arrest and should be complete within the next 2 weeks, if not sooner. A 2-year murder case out of Turner County came to an end yesterday. 26-year-old Philip Delaney was arrested September 2022 after he killed his partner's 4-month-old baby boy. Delaney was originally charged with murder, manslaughter, and aggravated battery of an infant.
He pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter, which has a maximum sentence of life in prison. The judge sentenced Delaney to 6 years in prison.
All of these infant deaths, these are hard cases. They're hard on the investigators, they're hard on the prosecutors, and they're hard on defense counsel. Just my appreciation for everybody that was involved. They were professional. Certainly everybody got a voice, from the infant through our office to the victims to the defendant. And the court arrived at what it felt was the best result, and we respect that.
When you subtract the time he's already spent in jail, he'll spend just 4.5 years in prison.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Temperatures on the climb at least a little bit, Scott.
Yeah, just a little bit. Many of us still remaining below average central and eastern KELOLAND, but it will be warmer than what we had yesterday, especially across the southeast. We'll have a high 45 today in Sioux Falls. May see some 50s just to the south and southeast of Sioux Falls today. 39 in Aberdeen, 46 in Pierre, and then we have the middle 60s showing up in western South Dakota. More details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Do you know what you're paying for every time you renew your license plates? Most people probably don't.
You think you're paying for just a new plate or a sticker, but there are a lot of fees attached to those renewals.
It's like anything. You come down, you pay, and you don't really pay much attention to it.
There's a solid waste fee, a highway patrol fee, and if you own a motorcycle, you're paying for a motorcycle safety course fee. We reached out to the state for a better explanation of these fees and where the money goes to, but never heard back. Eggs will be on the menu for more people thanks to a donation from a local farm. Dakota Layers dropped off 540 dozen eggs at Feeding South Dakota on Wednesday. For every free throw made at Frost Arena this regular season, the egg farm donated a dozen eggs.
Dakota Layers added more eggs to reach the grand total. The eggs will go to food pantries and hot meal sites. Well, the men's ice hockey championship is back in Sioux Falls for the first time since 2018.
Boston University, Minnesota, Omaha, and Rochester Institute of Technology are among the 16 teams vying for a national championship and will compete in the Sioux Falls Regional at the Premier Center. Nebraska Omaha worked with the Sioux Falls Sports Authority 4 years ago to help secure the regional and will serve as host.
They're going to be the liaison between the teams for the most part and the building.
We have staff here that is doing athletic training, that is doing equipment, that is doing on-ice operations, doing off-ice operations, and just kind of supporting the arena here and their staff to make sure that this is a great experience for all the teams that are participating.
Regional semifinals begin this afternoon at the Premier Center with Boston playing Rochester Institute of Technology at 4 p.m., followed by Minnesota and Omaha at 7:30.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
Okay, weather today. Well, a lot of our temperature forecasts are driven by the snow that's still on the ground for some areas of KELOLAND. Who would that be? Well, if you look at the dark blue and the purple there from north central Nebraska, right up here diagonally near Sioux Falls and just to the west and north, and then everything kind of pivots up into central Minnesota. That's where the temperature forecast will be directly affected by the snow, that refrigeration effect. I thought we'd bring that map into view when we overlay Futurecast. So as we look at the hourly temperatures, that explains a lot of these single digits this morning. Places like Watertown, Brookings, Marshall, it's all been very cold. Sioux Falls is kind of on that border, and then you'll see Sioux Falls. We're forecasting mid-40s today. I think we'll outperform the model a little bit here. Northwest Iowa, you can see Sioux City in the 50s. I have to agree with that. I also think Rapid City is going to make a really good jump because we don't have any snow on the ground south of Rapids. So be in the mid-60s there. It's a little tougher call in Pierre. Probably not quite to 54. I would argue maybe a little bit against that. But that's why you see a mixed bag of numbers here. 30s in snow-covered areas, and some folks in the 60s where there's no snow. Overnight tonight, a little system's going to zip through. There could be a little light wintry mix in the morning for Webster, Sisseton, maybe Watertown, and I wouldn't be afraid to say there might even be a little bit of light freezing rain. So if that materializes, you'll want to stay up on the forecast in the far northeast. For Sioux Falls, I really don't think that's a major issue, and certainly the afternoon will be back in the 50s, so it'll warm up nicely in far southeast KELOLAND. There's a difference in wind, though. A south wind ahead of this, a little low, and a northwest wind tomorrow in Pierre, Chamberlain, and that'll get up to probably at least 40 miles per hour in the afternoon. So we also want to make sure we acknowledge that. Fast forward into the weekend, Easter Sunday. Well, we got a couple of areas of low pressure moving in, one to our west that'll probably instigate some rain showers, probably mixing with or blending to some snow on Monday. Now, of course, we're a little early yet on how much that's going to accumulate to, but I still think it warrants some watching there. Here's that first system for your Friday. You'll notice there's a little light wintry mix there in the northeast. Not much moisture attached to it. And then we'll kind of regroup here as we get into late Saturday night and into Sunday. That's when that system's going to come out of the west, and it will provide us with some rain chances here Sunday. You notice there's a little different coloring there. Yeah, a little blue, a little pink. And that's, again, where those wintry options are on the table into Sunday night and Monday. You can see how this system kind of regroups here during that time period. So we'll be here in the Storm Center. We'll continue to update that forecast. Just kind of a first look at the moisture values with it. Well, it's not half bad, really, for moisture. I would argue at this point in time, though, we still have a lot to go as far as how much that's going to be rain versus snow. But anything over a half an inch of water, certainly that's a big deal considering how dry it has been most of the winter season. Well, let's jump to your 7-day forecast now. And as that system approaches, temperatures will tend to cool off a little bit into early next week for Sioux Falls. I still think, though, once we get to day 7, we've got some really good potential here. I know 57 is on there now, but frankly, I wouldn't be too shocked if we had 60s and 70s next week. So yes, we're going to find spring. It doesn't take that long. It's now that we get into April, we can ricochet a lot back and forth. Aberdeen, we got those low 40s into the weekend. Some rain or snow chances for you. And we're also going to include rain and snow chances for both Pierre and Rapid City starting Saturday night, at least through Monday. And for this system, too, it could be a little bit more of a wet weather maker for the Black Hills. So make sure you pay attention to that. More details online at KELOLAND.com.